Your first question comes from the line of Mike DeCorky.
Hello.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, I wanted to ask Shaka about the bylaw and that would exclude the Rams from playing in the CAA tournament this year, and what his hopes are in regards to the remission of that.
Well, the bylaw makes it very difficult for teams to play in a CAA tournament if they choose to leave the league the following year. For instance, Georgia State is leaving the CAA effective 2013, and so is Old Dominion. So unless they get a reprieve from the other presidents in our league, they will not, in the CAA, they will not be able to participate in the conference tournament. Mike, we're moving leagues this summer, so it doesn't affect us. We'll be in the Atlantic 10, and we'll participate in the Atlantic 10 tournament in March.
I got you.
The next question comes from the line of Mike Felix.
Hey, Shaka, how are you doing?
Doing great, Mark. Don't ask me what the best program is in Virginia.
Well, Michigan CAA went. I noticed in your press release you mentioned that you want to continue rivalries or series with some of your former CAA opponents. How desirable is James Madison, and have you had any discussions with them about playing annually or semi-annually?
We have. That's one of the schools we've talked to. We've talked to several schools in the CAA, and the tough thing, Mark, is it's late May, and for a lot of teams, their schedule is concluded or close to being concluded, and for us, we have multiple games to go get. So, it's just a matter of finding teams that have a similar interest and being able to fit it into their schedule and our schedule. Obviously, there's the factor of, do we start at our place? Do we start at their place? We're certainly willing to be flexible, but we can't go everywhere first, if you understand. We have to play some games at the Siegel Center or our fans wouldn't be so happy. So I can tell you this. I'm 98, 99% sure we'll play Old Dominion, and that game will most likely be at Old Dominion. We've reached out to George Mason. We've reached out to James Madison. We've talked to William and Mary. So we're definitely in discussions with several teams.
That's good. Thank you. Best of luck in the A-10.
Thanks, Mark.
As a reminder, to ask a question, press star 1. The next question comes from the line of Ben Westland.
Hey, Shaka. Aside from the bylaw situation, how important was it for you with 5 of your top 6 scorers returning to get in the Atlantic 10 as soon as possible?
Well, you got to remember this is an institutional decision and affects much more than men's basketball. Of course, I'm the men's basketball coach, so I can speak to our team and our situation. It is advantageous for us that we have a veteran team coming back as we make this transition, because anytime you make a transition, there's going to be challenges that arise. But honestly, the reasons number 1, 2, and 3 why the move was so immediate was I didn't feel like it was right to have to go in the locker room and tell our seniors and the seniors of the other sports at VCU, hey, thanks for everything you've done, but you're not going to be able to participate in the conference tournament, which for a lot of sports pretty much precludes you from playing the NCAA tournament. So that was certainly the main reason.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, as a reminder, if you would like to ask a question, press star 1. Next question comes from the line of Myron Metcalf.
How you doing, Coach?
Hey, Myron.
obviously, if you don't have the success that the program has had in the last couple of years, it would seem like this move wouldn't happen. Can you talk about VCU basketball's role specifically in this move to the A-10 and what your success, has meant for the entire athletic program there?
Well, again, Myron, it's an institutional decision, and make no mistake about it, the final decision was made by Dr. Rao, our president, and our board of visitors. I do think basketball played a significant role. The A-10 is a premier basketball league, and as you mentioned, the success that we've had recently here at VCU, I think made us a popular candidate for the Atlantic 10. But we're part of a larger athletic program. The success that we have certainly is critical to the athletic program, and I know the expectations on us will be even greater than they were before this move. But honestly, we have very high expectations within our program, and we like to take on challenges head on. And we understand that this move to the Atlantic 10 is going to be a challenge. It's a phenomenal league. There's teams across the board in the Atlantic 10 that have done great things going back for many, many years. So we know we have a lot of work to do, but we really wouldn't have it any other way.
Thanks.
The next question comes from the line of Jeff Eisenberg. Jeff, your line is open.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was on mute. Other schools who have changed leagues and conference realignment have kind of met with resistance when they've tried to keep some of their former rivalries going. Have you encountered any of that in your talks with George Mason or Old Dominion or any of the other former CAA schools, or have they been pretty receptive so far?
Well, it's just been a few days, so I certainly don't want to speak definitively on that. But yeah, I think there is some of that. This is a bold move that we at VCU have made, and I think there's certainly some people that maybe don't like the move we made. But like I said earlier, I think the people down at Old Dominion understand the importance of the rivalry that we have with them. I'm almost positive that we're going to be able to continue that and play this year. They did say it would have to be at their place, so we're going to accommodate that. Some of the other schools aren't quite sure yet whether they want to play us, and that's understandable. Again, people are a lot further along with their schedule than we are because, they didn't just change leagues. So there's a lot of complexities that come into scheduling. I think long term, my perception is that we will be able to keep some or all of our rivalries going with teams in the state of Virginia that are CAA teams, and that's certainly my hope.
Thank you. Your next question comes from the line of BJ Ring.
Hey, Coach. You kind of talked about this in one of the earlier questions, but with you guys coming in the league and Butler coming in the league the year after, can you just talk about the A-10 and what you see as the future of the league?
Well, the league could be scary good. I mean, it's just so many basketball programs in the Atlantic 10, and when you add in Butler and VCU that have an opportunity to do great things year in and year out. When you look at it, I say scary good because, depending on which perspective you come from, you realize somebody's going to have to finish, a little bit further down in the standings. Only one team can win it, and only 4 teams can be in the top 4. So, but that's, again, it's a challenge that you can look at one of 2 ways. You can be scared. You can kind of shrink from the challenge. You can look at it negatively. You can be very positive and optimistic and attack the challenge head on, and that's what we choose to do.
You called the A-10 a premier league. I mean, can you just talk a little about that and the fact that with you guys coming in and Butler and Flew and some of the other teams playing well, that this can be, this is a league on the rise?
There's no question. I mean, it's a league that has done terrific things in the past, and I think with these changes, it has an opportunity to continue to do great things and, maybe get even more teams in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, at-large bids work on a year-by-year basis. There's years where certain leagues are stronger than in other years, but I do think that there's a dearth of high-quality basketball teams in the Atlantic 10, and those teams are going to continue the momentum that they have, and it's going to be a very, very competitive conference.
Thank you, Coach.
And you have a follow-up question from the line of Mike DeCoy.
Yes, Shaka, I wondered how moving leagues changes your recruiting. Do you start dialing up different guys than you might have 6 months ago? Well,
that's a great question, Mike, and honestly, we're still in the process of figuring that out. I will say that we've got a very positive reception this week from the guys who are already recruiting about the change, and so that's always a good thing. We are a team that in the past we've tried to recruit guys that on a given night could help us beat some of the teams in the power conferences, the Power Six, if you will. And that's challenging if you're not in those leagues because recruiting is so conference-driven. That doesn't change because we're still not in the Power Six conferences. So, but we're certainly in a league in the Atlantic 10 that I think in a given year can compare, particularly with these recent changes that have been announced, can compare, if not favorably, close to favorably with maybe a couple of those conferences in a given year. So we just have to get the word out to recruits about how good the Atlantic 10 is and the fact that we're now in the Atlantic 10 and we hope to be successful.
And there are no further questions at this time.
Okay. All right, thank you for joining. I will send out the MP3 later on today. Thanks again for joining.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect.